Greetings, all! Today, we'll be examining the exceptionally rare water-type Pokemon Quaxly, the Duckling Pokémon, its equally rare evolution Quaxwell, the Practicing Pokémon, and its final equally rare water-fire type evolution Quaquaval, the Dancer Pokémon. While stylish in their forms and more than apt with their footwork, the members of the Quaxly family are unique birds that can make quite the watery show when given the room to spread their legs.
Quaxly have small white-feathered bodies with a pair of small wings that they use more as hands than wings, with large blue webbed feet perfect for swimming. They also have a bright yellow beak, deep blue eyes, and a large light blue coif on the top of the head that they tend to stylize to their preferences. The evolved form Quaxwell have a more humanoid form to them, with yellow three-toed webbed feet with blue accents, their chest, tail, and wings decorated with deep blue feathers. Their head also has changed shape noticeably, a deep blue domed cap of feathers crowning and surrounding the top of their head like a stylized hairdo, complete with a light blue feather crest at the base of their forehead. Their final evolution Quaquaval have bodies covered in distinctive dark blue feathers with light blue wave-like motifs on the edges of their arms and legs, as well as 4 yellow and orange tipped toes on each foot, and large pointed posterior with brightly colored water feathers forming a fan-like formation behind them. The head now contains an elaborate crest on it with red flanges to the sides near their forehead, with deep blue wavy feathers that undulate towards the back of their head, a large light blue feather topping the front of their head to give them an incredibly exotic look.
Quaxly, as with many other different types of waterfowl, have waterproof feathers that allow them to swim and travel through water without ever having to worry about flying. Though in their case, flying is something they rarely do as it is, preferring to stay in the water for most of their lives.
This is all thanks to a glossy gel that they secrete from the base of their feathers that helps not only repel water, but also grime, and these birds are known to be quite fussy about it, using the gel to both stylize and hydrate the coif on the top of their head, which can become messy and disheveled if it is allowed to dry out. These birds hate the dirt, and will clean themselves in the water on a regular basis in order to remove any filth and grime that has clung to them, especially on their head, which can prove to be a minor annoyance to some if they plan on taking the birds out and away from noble bodies of water on their travels. With strong legs added to this to help them swim through the water, it more than makes these creatures useful partners to work with if one is looking to be a water-type specialist of some sort in their native lands, though the skewed gender ratio of 8-to-1 in favor of males can make them hard to get a hold of. When Quaxly managed to evolve into a Quaxwell, their forms and powers take a bit of a turn as they become much less focused on how they look and how much more on how they move. While they are still strong swimmers, these birds are much more focused on footwork than their actual swimming abilities, as evolution seems to trigger an obsession of sorts within them that pushes them towards the life of a dancer, and they make this known pretty quickly as they focus on using their legs more than any other part of their body in and out of battle. This can make them a bit much to deal with as they can sometimes be real divas about their work, but this at least translates into some useful combat abilities for trainers, as these creatures can learn moves like low sweep and feather dance that are inaccessible to their pre-evolved forms, and thus provide them some needed additions to their offensive and tactical repertoire.
Evolution into Quaquaval finally shows that these beasts have mastered the dancing skills that will make the defining feature of their existence, and to say that these beasts are able to show off more than a bit is an understatement towards their cause and actions.
When these beasts evolve fully, they gain access to an unusual series of tail feathers that are referred to as water feathers. These are not true feathers in a traditional sense, but instead are waterfall objects that are kept in shape with a thin, rigid layer of bone that allows them to fan out into thin, almost imperceptible lines around these creatures to form a large fan-like array behind them, which not only adds to their gorgeous appearances, but, perhaps more importantly, can be used for offensive purposes. These feathers are connected to a series of thin wheels that are joined to the base of the body near the posterior, and Quaquaval can use this unique anatomical arrangement to spin the feathers around their bodies and strike with harsh repeated blows with them. This is mainly used as part of the signature Aqua Step attack, which combines this with an initial upward kick to not only deal moderate damage to a target, but get these birds really pumped up, increasing their speed stat with every successful use. Combined with their exceptional dancing skills, this can make these beasts a potent threat on their own, as their faster dancing will make them that much harder to directly hit, and thus a threat to be concerned about over the course of a long fight. This combines extremely well with their possible abilities, as well as the strong connection to the water grants them access to Torrent as their only base ability. Those that really get a kick out of knocking out opponents and are invigorated by it can also have access to Moxie as a hidden ability. As far as the stats are concerned in the case of Quaquaval, these strange birds might not look that dangerous at first, but they can hit fairly hard with their moves and have noteworthy power in many different aspects outside of the weaker defenses. Their base HP attack and speed stats being above average for a fully evolved water-type Pokemon, and the base special attack stat being above average for a fully evolved fighting-type Pokemon, so they can perform well as an agile offensive threat when pressed to. Normally, Quaxly are fairly easy to get along with, and enjoy the great potential for adventure in anything and everything they do, and this might be connected to their seafaring days, as they are known to not be originally native to the Paldea region, instead immigrating here on ships many centuries ago. While they can rough up others if they need to, these beasts tend to be a bit more laid back compared to other starter Pokemon, and prefer to just let their good looks and style do the talking for them, showing off their bodies in a way that will make more sense and do them plenty of favors in the future once they manage to fully evolve. As they are now though, these dogs are most well known for their obsession with cleanliness, and will constantly preen themselves and wash their entire forms to keep them clean. In addition to this, these birds tend to be a bit too smart for their own good, and like to overthink things, which can make them hard to work with in direct simple fights, but potentially much more useful when facing opponents with tricky tactics on their side. Either way, these dogs can make for a great starter Pokemon for those willing to put up with their antics, and ultimately make themselves the perfect pick for anyone looking for a bit of personality to their closest partner. Quaxwell will run and dance around in shallow water in order to practice their skills and train their legs, trying to make their movements as graceful as they possibly can as they do so, and oftentimes competing with each other in the wild to see who can move the most gracefully in these conditions. In addition to practicing their skills and dancing on a constant basis, Quaxwell are also creatures that know it is important for them to learn how to make the most of their skills by incorporating the movements and dance steps of other creatures into their own actions. This is mainly done by observing how others move, seeing whether or not it is something that would fit their personal style, and could in turn be made a part of their own actions in and out of battle. While the Paldea region might not be known for its dance halls, this just means that these birds will happily travel into human settlements and parts of the wild frontier of the region to hone their skills and try and master whatever they can to make the most of their time as adolescents. This will ultimately pay off once they manage to fully evolve, but for now, it is a curious quirk that can make these beasts unique to interact with, and offers plenty of opportunities for trainers to find a way to connect to them through the language of dance.
The dancing skills of Quaquaval, aside from putting them in a position of revelry with Pokemon like Zarina, also translates into some serious offensive power and can be a strong reflection of all that they have encountered in their lives.
These birds are able to make such effective use of their legs to move and dance around with that it translates into greater combat abilities as well, granting them access to moves like Counter, Mega Kick, Close Combat, and Wave Crash, and essentially makes them so adept at using the limited array of fighting type moves that they essentially become partial fighting types in evolution, something that pairs well with their fairly high base attack stat. Their strength is so great in fact that it can send an entire truck rolling with a single kick. This goes well with their advanced movement abilities, as they often like to battle just to show off their dance skills they have learned from observing and practicing with others from faraway lands. If all of this was not impressive enough, these beasts also have a photographic memory when it comes to learning new skills for their dance repertoire, memorizing all that they see and incorporating it into their actions with seemingly little issue in almost any circumstance. This as a whole can render these beasts quite the stars to work with, even if they might not always know when to stop, as they tend to keep their bodies in motion at all times, ready to give themselves a serious workout on any occasion.
These adorable waterfowl can make for quite the energetic partners if you really feel like getting your groove on in their presence. Quaxly might be a bit prideful about how they look, but that really just makes them that much more charming and fun to interact with. They might lack a lot of the more advanced powers and techniques that their evolutions can wield, but they'll get to that place in time and should just be enjoyed regardless. Quaxwell is when we really get to see these birds start to seriously hone their dancing skills, and the dedication to their crafts is honestly quite admirable and remarkable. They might not always be perfect yet, but practice does make perfect, and these birds take it to heart as they train to be the best possible dancers they can be. Quaquaval is so generally fun to be around that it's no surprise they tend to be the life of the party once they step onto the stage of any conflict. They might look to be flashy, maybe even a bit gaudy to some, but I just utterly love the sort of dance moves they can pull off, and can more than use their dancing prowess to walk over anyone that thinks they can dance to the beat better than they can.
Though they might come off as a bit strange at first with their dancing-based skills and moves, the members of the Quaxly family are nonetheless potent birds that can use elegance and grace to dance the way into victory when the conditions are right. It might take a lot of hunting to find one of these rare creatures, but the wait can often be worth it if you're in the mood to show your skills on the dance floor.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you try and keep to the beat just as they do, as you might make the both of you look bad if you can't bust a move easily together on any occasion.
Thank you all for watching this video. It always brings me great joy to see others enjoying the work I do to try and make the world of Pokemon and the fascinating creatures that lay inside of it feel as real as they possibly can. If you really enjoy my work, please feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, as I always do my best to respond to any and all comments that are left on my videos. In addition, if you wish to learn more about my work and help support it, you can find links to my Patreon page, as well as email and other contact information to my work on DeviantArt in the video description down below. Furthermore, you can find a link to my Discord server there as well if you'd like to get a first glimpse at what videos are coming up next and converse with other fans of the world of Pokemon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and have a wonderful rest of your day.